How many hours a week do you grind? 40? 50? Maybe even more? Now, close your eyes and imagine pouring all of that sweat into the machine, watching your bank account transfer, and realizing you still cannot afford a basic apartment. You didn't overspend on luxury items. You didn't make reckless choices. But the mathematics of basic survival have completely broken. The rent shot up, your wages crawled like a turtle, and every single exit ramp from poverty came with an upfront price tag you couldn't clear. It is June 2026, and this is the silent reality destroying the lives of millions across the United States. We're looking at over 35 million citizens trapped below the poverty threshold, alongside 22.7 million working families who are severely cost-burdened by their housing. On paper, the economic metrics look pristine. The commentators tell you that the gross domestic product is up, unemployment is at record lows, and everything is fine. But that is exactly the illusion. What is fracturing across America right now doesn't show up in the headline numbers. It shows up in the people behind them. Honest, fully employed workers who carry company badges, wear clean uniforms, and quietly sleep in their cars every single night. This is the modern face of economic catastrophe. It just doesn't look like the soup lines of the past. Welcome to Homeless US. I am a professional scriptwriter, and I am the eyes on the concrete. I don't look at the world through sanitized spreadsheets or political slogans. I document the raw human hearts trapped inside a system that treats them like disposable fuel. Today, we are exposing the deep connection between chronic workplace stress, the structural collapse of affordable space, and the hidden poverty premium that is draining the working class. Stay with me for the next hour, because what we are about to uncover regarding rent depletion mathematics, algorithmic housing court traps, and the quiet starvation of the family kitchen will change the way you see the American workforce forever. If you believe honest labor should guarantee a secure place to sleep, hit that subscribe button right now. Let's look through the lens at the reality of the invisible population. Part 1. The broken blueprint, the dissociation of labor and shelter. To understand why the social contract is fracturing across the United States in 2026, we have to look directly at the broken equation of the rental market. For generations, the baseline bargain of American economic life was explicit. You show up, you execute your labor, and your paycheck guarantees you the fundamental pillars of stability: housing, nutrition, and healthcare. That blueprint has officially collapsed. A full-time job has been completely decoupled from basic human shelter. Consider the trajectory of Marcus, a 38-year-old home health aide working 40 hours a week in a mid-sized Midwestern city. He earns just over $15 an hour, totaling roughly $25,000 a year before taxes. By every standard metric used by the government, he is employed and participating in the economy. Then, his roommate relocated, and the property management firm reset the apartment's rent to match the current hyperinflated market. Marcus could not clear the new number on a single income. When he applied for state housing subsidies, the automated database informed him that his wages were technically too high to qualify for assistance. Because his income was entirely consumed by the immediate cost of groceries and utilities, he lacked the upfront liquid capital to secure a new tenancy deposit. He ended up living inside his vehicle for 11 consecutive weeks, reporting for his shifts every single morning, dressing in immaculate scrubs, and providing intimate medical care for someone else's family member, while possessing absolutely no private door to close when his shift concluded. This isn't a story of personal negligence. It is a clinical demonstration of a system where doing everything right is no longer sufficient to guarantee survival. The barrier Marcus encountered wasn't merely the monthly rent. It was the massive network of entry costs that surrounds the lease. Landlords routinely require first month's rent, an equivalent security deposit, and automated proof that your gross income equals 3 times the monthly rent. If a single old medical bill went to a collections agency years prior, your credit score drops below the algorithm's threshold, triggering an immediate rejection. Each requirement is framed as standard security for the property owner, but stacked together, they form a vertical wall that a low-wage worker cannot clear all at once. You need excess capital simply to access the housing that would allow you to save capital. The entry fee to stability has become higher than the monthly cost of stability itself. Part 2. The shrinking ledger. Inside the housing deficit reports. The true scale of this crisis remains completely masked if you only evaluate the generalized national averages. To understand the depth of the erosion, you must look directly at the localized data buried inside Harvard's 2026 rental housing audits. The reports confirm that an unprecedented 22.7 million renter households are classified as cost-burdened, meaning nearly half of all tenants in the United States are spending over 30% of their gross income exclusively on rent and utilities before purchasing a single loaf of bread or a gallon of fuel. Within this group, 12.1 million households are categorized as severely cost-burdened, forced to hand over more than 50% of every dollar they earn directly to a landlord before their month even begins. This structural depletion is driven by a deliberate design choice within the real estate development sector. For the past decade, the production of lower-cost, non-market housing units has been systematically choked off. Real estate developers and institutional investment funds direct their capital exclusively toward high-end, luxury developments because that is where the profit margins are maximized. The bottom of the rental market is evaporating, narrowing the exit ramps for low-income families. When a middle-class earner tracking $70,000 a year encounters a $200 rent increase, they experience an inconvenience. They reduce their discretionary spending, cancel a subscription, and maintain their housing. But when a service worker earning $28,000 encounters that exact same $200 spike, the mathematics of their life collapse. There is no luxury spending left to trim. The direction of a market change is not the same as the level of a market change. The fact that national rental growth has slowed or cooled in specific zip codes does not ease the pressure on a household that is already operating at absolute zero. A minor decline from an impossible level is still completely impossible. This creates an invisible trap where an honest worker remains completely static for years, current on their immediate bills, showing up to their shifts, but utterly incapable of building a financial cushion. Without that buffer, the smallest biological or mechanical friction triggers a chain reaction that leads straight to a housing court. Part 3. The documented mark, the long-term trauma of eviction. One of the primary structural errors in our public discussion regarding poverty is the assumption that an eviction is simply a temporary logistical disruption, a single difficult weekend spent moving boxes from an old apartment to a new one. But on the ground in 2026, data from Princeton University's eviction lab demonstrates that a court eviction filing functions as a permanent civil mark that systematically destroys a person's future mobility. Before a formal court filing occurs, the financial struggle remains private and contained. A tenant falls behind on their balance, initiates a high-stress negotiation with the landlord, and attempt to sacrifice other necessities to patch the deficit. The moment the landlord logs the dispute into the municipal court system, the private struggle transforms into a permanent public record. A missed rent payment can be an entirely temporary event caused by an irregular work schedule or a brief health issue. But a digital court record remains anchored to your name for years, completely independent of the size of the original debt, and completely indifferent to whether the balance was eventually paid back in full. During the recent annual cycles, monitored metropolitan areas recorded over 1.23 million individual eviction cases filed in a single year, establishing a baseline filing rate of 7.9%. This means that roughly 1 out of every 13 renter households in these markets is actively subjected to the legal machinery of displacement. This is not an edge case statistic reserved for reckless individuals. It is an ordinary component of the rental system's operational rhythm in America. The true trauma of an eviction begins in the aftermath of the court order. The family is immediately hit with compounding emergency expenses, cash layout for short-notice moving vans, monthly storage fees for furniture that cannot fit into a temporary motel room, and missed employment shifts due to the sheer chaos of the displacement. Children are forced to undergo mid-year school transitions, sometimes rotating through multiple classrooms within a single academic calendar, which shatters their learning development and social networks. Critical documents, birth certificates, and chronic medications are routinely lost or destroyed during the enforcement process. And when the worker finally attempts to re-enter the housing market, the next landlord runs their name through an automated screening database, detects the historical court filing, and immediately cancels the application before a conversation can even begin. The system takes an individual who is close to the edge and systematically ensures their path back to stability is made twice as steep. Part 4. The instability tax. Why it is remarkably expensive to be poor. There is an old, comfortable assumption that when you lose your apartment, your cost of living drops because you no longer have to clear a massive monthly rent check. But any housing advocate operating within the homeless U.S. network can tell you that the exact opposite is true. Losing your home immediately renders your daily life significantly more expensive. Instability carries a massive financial premium that actively drains the capital of the poor. Consider the baseline economics of displacement. When a family is evicted from an $1,100 a month apartment, they do not automatically transition into an equivalent affordable unit because those units do not exist in the current construction pipeline. Instead, they find themselves trapped inside extended stay commercial motels, paying an average rate of $75 a night. Run that math across a standard 30-day cycle, and that family is forced to produce over $2,200 a month, nearly double the cost of the stable apartment they just lost. This extreme premium is extracted for a single room with zero lease protections, zero kitchen facilities, and absolutely zero structural security. Layer the secondary costs of instability on top of that baseline. Because the motel room cannot hold a family's furniture, they must pay a monthly storage fee to keep their assets from being scrapped. Because they no longer possess a kitchen with a refrigerator and an oven, they cannot purchase groceries in bulk or prepare low-cost meals. They are forced to buy pre-packaged, individual convenience store items and fast food at prices that are 20 to 40% higher per calorie than grocery store equivalents. Transportation costs skyrocket because the only short-term lodging available is located miles away from their employment center, lengthening their daily commute and consuming more fuel. The Federal Reserve's household asset surveys indicate that roughly 1 in 3 adults in this country cannot handle a basic $400 emergency using cash reserves. $400 is the price of an automotive alternator that allows a logistics worker to report for their shift or the cost of a medical copay. When there is no financial cushion available, that $400 hit initiates slow-motion structural collapse. The repair goes on to a high-interest credit card. The next rent check comes up short. The late fees land on the ledger, and the household enters a cycle where the system charges an extra premium for having less at every single pressure point. Part 5. The starvation of the ledger, the quiet erasure of nutrition. When the financial precarity of a household reaches a critical limit, the budget must be compressed immediately to prevent a complete collapse. Because housing costs, car loans, utility networks, and childcare systems enforce rigid deadlines with immediate legal consequences if you fall behind. They cannot be negotiated. If you miss a vehicle payment, the repossession truck arrives. If you ignore an energy bill, the power is terminated. Consequently, the only line item on the family ledger that possesses absolute flexibility is the food budget. Nutrition is the first thing to be quietly erased from the household. The contraction of the grocery list happens in complete silence behind closed doors, leaving zero paper trail for state data systems to track. The shopping cart gets lighter every week. Fresh produce and lean proteins are systematically replaced by high-sodium, low-cost processed carbohydrates that offer cheap calories but zero long-term nutritional value. A parent routinely skips lunch, blunting their internal hunger with tap water while telling their children they already ate at the workspace. The school meal program stops functioning as a routine educational convenience and transforms into the primary source of biological nutrition for a child through the week. The United States Department of Agriculture's latest household food security reports confirm that 13.7% of domestic households experienced acute food insecurity over the past year, translating to 18.3 million families and individuals who lack consistent access to enough nutrition to sustain basic health. Within that figure, 7.2 million households fell into the severe category where actual eating patterns were disrupted and food intake was reduced due to a total lack of capital. This crisis does not present itself loudly on our television screens. It looks like a refrigerator being managed with stressful precision, where every item is rationed down to the single ounce. It looks like a mother mentally recalculating the total value of the items in her basket twice, while standing in the supermarket aisle, terrified of the humiliation that occurs if her card declines at the register. The cost of basic living has outpaced what a large share of our working households actually bring home after taxes, forcing families to slowly starve their bodies just to protect the padlock on their front door. Part 6. The Medical Cliff, when illness triggers liquidations. For a securely housed family with an executive income and a robust savings account, the arrival of physical illness is an expensive inconvenience, a stressful disruption of the calendar that requires a copay and a few days of rest before the routine resets. But for a working household operating without a financial cushion, stepping over the medical cliff triggers an immediate liquidation of their remaining stability. The mechanics of this collapse move across the budget with immense speed. A sudden fever or an orthopedic injury means missed hourly shifts at the logistics facility or retail floor. Because these positions do not provide paid sick leave, those missed hours translate directly into a hollowed-out paycheck at the end of the pay period. That missing capital ensures that another critical bill, the utility payment or the insurance premium, cannot be cleared. A chronic dental infection or a structural vision problem is systematically ignored for months, forcing the worker to perform high-efficiency labor while managing constant pain because the $300 cost of a basic clinical appointment is simply not present in their wallet. National healthcare reviews indicate that over 26 million Americans under the age of 65 possess absolutely no health insurance coverage, an increase of more than 1.3 million people in a single annual window. The most alarming detail is that the vast majority of these uninsured citizens are not outside the workforce. They are members of working families. They hold positions that offer zero structural benefits, or they earn an entry-level wage that technically disqualifies them from state Medicaid eligibility while leaving them entirely unable to purchase a private health plan on the open market. Even for those who technically possess insurance, the exposure remains severe. Consumer finance data shows that 4 in 10 adults are actively carrying debt that originated directly from medical or dental bills. When a medical diagnosis lands on a worker who spent half their income on rent and possesses less than $400 in reserve, they're forced to play a lethal game of logistical choice. Do I fill this prescription today, or do I protect the electric utility bill on time? Do I keep the follow-up clinical appointment, or do I protect the shift I cannot afford to lose? Every choice is completely logical under the immediate constraints, but each choice ensures that both the medical condition and the financial precarity get worse over time, accelerating the slide toward total displacement. Part 7. The Systemic Verdict, the reality of the modern recovery. So, we are forced to confront the core systemic question that this data presents to our collective conscience. Is America currently navigating a second Great Depression? If you evaluate the situation through the strict definitions of technical economic theory, The answer is no. The commercial banking networks are not collapsing in a cascading panic, and a specific segment of the population is experiencing real asset appreciation and corporate dividend growth. Those indicators are technically accurate, but they conceal the actual human landscape of the country. Averages are a dangerous mechanism. They allow the extreme wealth of a financial elite to blend with the total destitution of the working class, producing a national score that claims everything is stable. An aggregate indicator that blends the balance sheet of an institutional real estate investor with a full-time nurse who is sleeping inside her sedan tells you absolutely nothing about the reality of daily life for the person on the wrong side of that average. The concept of a second Great Depression is entirely accurate when applied as a description of what it actually feels like to live inside this economy, without a single dollar of financial margin. It describes the profound exhaustion that takes root when ordinary, everyday work no longer produces ordinary stability. The face of economic hardship in 2026 does not look like the historical images of devastation. It hides behind clean company uniforms, immaculate delivery schedules, and regular work commutes. It is the logistics worker who drives to a dark highway rest stop to sleep because the municipal housing list runs 18 months long. It is the young couple that remains current on their rent this month, but recognizes with absolute certainty that they are a single missed shift away from total collapse next month. The gap between what basic life costs and what honest work actually pays is not the result of millions of independent personal failures. It is a structural condition built into the very design of our modern economy. The system is actively extracting the energy of its people while pricing them out of the safety net required to keep their bodies functional. Until we look through the lens with absolute clarity and confront the full, hidden reality of the working unhoused, our public solutions will remain critically too small, too late, and entirely too punishing for the people who build our society from the ground up. Outro: The Awakening of Homeless U.S. The erosion of our working class is the defining crisis of our generation. We cannot remain a durable or healthy society when the essential personnel who power our daily progress are systematically pushed to the geographic and financial margins of the communities they serve. Reclaiming the American promise requires us to look past temporary fixes and establish permanent, structural protection for the working majority. We must dismantle the restrictive zoning ordinances that make the production of multifamily affordable housing a civil crime. We must shield our residential real estate from corporate speculation that treats a human necessity like a line item on a hedge fund balance sheet. And we must realign our state assistance systems to ensure that 40 hours of honest labor reliably buys a secure, permanent home. I want to hear from you. This investigation only matters if it breaks through the noise of the digital space and transforms into an active conversation within our shared community of awareness. After exploring how the mechanics of rent, eviction records, and medical debt are driving full-time professionals toward the brink of housing displacement in 2026, what do you think needs to change first? Should we legally mandate a national cap on rental listings indexed directly to the median wages of the local workforce? Or must we focus entirely on restructuring our public health care and housing frameworks into free public utilities? Have you witnessed the signs of this hidden, unhoused crisis within your own town or your own workplace? Please leave a comment below. I read every single one because your voice is what builds this channel, Homeless US, into a vital force for structural truth and human empathy. If today's documentary opened your eyes or validated the silent weight you've been carrying on your family balance sheets, please do me one simple favor. Hit that like button right now. It is the simplest and most powerful way to help the YouTube algorithm share these human realities with more people who need to understand that poverty is a structural condition, not a personal failure. If we choose to remain silent and look away, the extraction machine continues to operate without challenge, and the floor will continue to give way beneath the vulnerable. Subscribe to Homeless US and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our upcoming investigations into the hidden realities of modern life. Don't let your awareness stop when this screen goes black. Transform your empathy into consistent, practical action within your own neighborhood. Support frontline community organizations, mobile street medicine teams, and housing advocates in your home district who are working around the clock to provide direct aid to the working poor. Volunteer your hours at a local distribution center. Donate basic necessity supplies like water, clean blankets, and hygiene kits, or advocate fiercely against criminalization ordinances in your own local council assemblies. The next time you pass a service worker or see a neighbor navigating their day, look them in the eye and recognize their profound worth with a simple word of respect. We are the ultimate safety net for one another. We leave you tonight with a quiet prayer for every single soul navigating the high-stakes survival gauntlet of our world tonight. May you find a moment of absolute physical safety and deep mental rest in the hours ahead. May the weather be kind to your workspace, and may your home remain a secure haven from the weight of unmanageable debt and the pressure of the market. We pray for the parents balancing their budgets in the quiet kitchens tonight, for the children trying to study by the light of a phone screen in the back seats, and for the workers setting their alarms inside the quiet vehicles. May a hand reach out to you tomorrow that doesn't want to exploit your labor or ignore your dignity, but wants to offer you a genuine key to a door that locks and stays locked. May fresh hope rise in your heart, and may you know that you are not an input, you are not a statistic, and you're deeply valued by the human family. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for staying with us for the entirety of this presentation. Your time, your focus, and your deep attention are the most valuable assets you can offer to this movement. We are not just filming the concrete of our world, we are witnessing our neighbors. We are recording the real human history that our modern systems want to conceal beneath corporate growth metrics and polished indicators. We are all just walking each other home, bound together by the same fragile threads of timing, health, and luck. Let us carry more empathy in our hearts and more courage in our daily actions starting tomorrow morning. We will see you in the next investigation from Homeless US. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other out there. Hallelujah.